There's a couple things that one is I'm struggling to find time, but I figure that I have to make time and integrate this into my lifestyle if I'm ever going to really learn closure. So even though like I have a lot of things going on in my life, I'm trying my best to still like commit to this. Let me see. So I bought this book after our first session. I bought this right here, the Clojure workshop. And so it's I guess it's a series of tutorials that ultimately are a part of a bigger project to build something. And
Mm.
even though I'm struggling for time, I try to just like at least read it if I'm not actually trying out the actual examples. So I'm doing that in between our sessions, and I'm just trying my best to make progress. So I'm a little bit more prepared when you and I link up. So uh, I don't know what's happening right here. Yeah, so that's about it. So like some things that I learned is within parentheses, it's always a function that can be executed. But if you just want to like type in some data but want it to be treated as an expression, then you have to put like the apostrophe sign in front of it. I think that's what the book said. And so again, things are very, very slow for me, but I'm slowly trying to like make sense of this whole new paradigm since I come from a .NET background. So, I mean, I did this exercise right here. So that's just a little bit of me attempting to show that I am committed to learning this, and I don't want to waste your time at all. So that's all.
Okay.
Let me. I guess I should share my IDE. Hopefully this thing doesn't crash on me. My Windows machine has a habit of crashing on me, uh, which won't be good if it happens in the middle of this broadcast. So, all right. So hide this. Dun, dun. Launch this IDE. Hello world. This is a separate project.
So you switch to VS Code.
What's that?
Did you switch to VS Code from IntelliJ?
No, that was Visual Studio, but I'm launching this
Ah,
IntelliJ right now. It's taking a while for it to
so
bootstrap.
so
Why is
it's
this
not
taking so long? I'm clicking it. Why is this thing taking so long? Does IntelliJ take a long time to load? I don't even see it in here. Why isn't this launching? Okay, here we go. Man, that took a long time. It took like a minute.
we can work on VS Code.
Oh, you prefer VS Code? I'm scared I'm going to have to relearn everything that you just taught
Mm,
me.
I'm not familiar, but I I can help and answer question about IntelliJ, but not about Visual Studio.
Oh, no, no, no. The Visual Studio is a completely separate solution for F sharp
Okay.
work that I'm doing, or in that case, C sharp. No, no. IntelliJ is what I'm using.
You can work in Visual Studio Code with Canva plugin. People
Oh, yeah,
work
yeah.
and they like it, not a problem.
Okay, yeah. This was strictly Visual Studio though. It wasn't even Visual Studio Code. It was just Visual Studio 2019. So, okay. So, what I learned the last time that we talked was Shift Alt L is to load. I thought Shift Alt L was to load the file into the REPL. Why does it say load context, nothing there? Do I have to start the REPL first? Yeah, hold up. How
Yes,
do
you need to start
how do I
REPL. On the right, my REPL toolbar, but without button. Not
uh
active. Is it not active?
I thought I thought it was
It's
like
still,
start.
well, it's indexing, so you should wait.
Okay.
Next time, better to launch IntelliJ before session.
Yeah, my apologies. I didn't know. It tells me my evaluation session ended. Does that
How
mean
much memory do you have on your machine?
think I have enough. I mean, my CPU is high. Yeah, there's some things I could probably kill.
Well, I see that Visual Studio uses your CPU as well. At least 22% there was. Uh, and Google Chrome is bigger. Okay.
Yeah.
It's because of session. Well, indexing is almost done.
Synchronizing line again project. Okay. So now this button is enabled.
You can ignore this message. Now
Okay.
you can start your REPL. No, you should start it
Just
in
press this.
toolbar. No, this is the second one, REPL. Switch from hello world. Yes, change to second entry. My REPL, yes.
Oh.
It's and started.
Okay.
And yeah, okay. And how did you do your exercises from this book without REPL or what?
No, I was using the REPL. But I only like I only practiced the exercises maybe for like 45 minutes. Um, and the rest of the time I was just reading the book whenever I had some free time, like at the beach or like while I was away from home. So I still plan on doing the exercises. It's just, I mean, I got a lot of excuses for why, but I mean, I started a new job. I'm moving, and so there's just a lot of distractions right now. All right, so it says that the server started. So Shift Alt L loads the file, and then I can click on this right here and say Shift Off P. And it says, "Hello, my name is Scott Nimrod." All right, cool. Now what?
What's your plan? What did you want to learn? What?
Um, I would like to. My ultimate goal is to learn how to design, how to do like domain modeling in Clojure. Like I think I'm really good at doing it in F sharp, but in Clojure, I would like to take something that's like somewhat of a complicated domain and be able to model it in Clojure and be able to demonstrate that it works. So, like for example, An example that I think I would like to do is I think it's called business rules kata.
You can take a C# program and translate it to Clojure, for example.
I would like to hold up. Business rules. I think it's called code kata. Yeah. And so like this may take me like another month to get to this level of competency, but I would like to perform this. I'll send you a link. Hold up. Let me go back. Private chat. All right. So it's basically writing, like taking some business requirements and then writing out a program where any change in requirements will be like relatively trivial to add. And so I'm not sure if I should really read the entire thing, but it's essentially saying like it's like an e-commerce type of like business. And so when you purchase one thing, you may get a discount, but then like an email needs to go out, and also you may get some complimentary products that also need to be sent. But it's all based on all these different conditions that are subject to change over time. And so it's an interesting problem. And I remember I practiced this when I was learning F sharp. And so my ultimate goal is maybe a month from now be able to have a Clojure implementation of this kata.
But do you have a C# implementation of this kata?
No, I think I may have an F sharp implementation. Hold up. So F sharp business rules. Yeah, actually, this is me right here.
But what about the code itself?
Yeah, apparently I have two videos on it from 2016. Here's my blog post on it. Hey.
Oh, okay, types.
Yeah, so
Can you
this
please
is
drop me the link
that's the main driver.
to your blog?
I'll send you the link. I don't remember the details of it, which is why I like publish blog posts. But
Okay, so main tool for modeling is hash map.
okay,
It's like JSON with fields, and you can store various data inside. So if you look at your implementation in F sharp, so every type is like type command is a hash map of four fields like issue slip, email owner, pay commission. So if you use just maps, they have no specific type restrictions. You can use subset of hash maps like records. So it's like case classes in Scala. I don't know about F sharp. So a record where there are fixed set of fields. They have names, but in Clojure they also behave like hash map, so can be used as hash map as well.
okay,
Also, you can define type with def type. It will be like a record, but without hash map behavior you cannot access object fields by keywords and so on. And all of this have no restriction by field type, so it's heterogeneous and
Okay. So how would I write that? Would I say like let is supposed to be global or is it def global? I think let is global,
def
right?
def is global
Okay.
and let is inside function local
Okay.
scope.
So let my map equals and then
You start from parent.
oh,
Everything starts from parent.
okay. So do I say let my map
Let square bracket and then pairs of
like that?
identifier and value. Yes.
Uh,
Okay,
and
let's write.
we use hyphens, right?
Yes, you can do code. So the type plan. So let plan is a okay. Plan it's not okay. This is plan is enumeration, like enumeration. Yes.
Plan?
Type plan. I'm looking at your code in your blog.
Oh, okay.
Business rules
So
implementation.
oh, you're talking about
So
the code that I did? Hold up.
yes, your plan is
What is it?
for line 4. Type plan standard and platinum.
Okay, okay, okay.
Is it the enumeration or?
It is well, it's called a discriminated union. It's similar to an enumeration. The way it reads right now, it can be treated as an enumeration. Yes.
Okay,
This,
so
okay.
for keyword you can use just two. For plan you can use just two keywords like standard plan and platinum plan,
Okay.
and use this value uh, where is plan.
Uh, let me see.
Email owner of plan.
It's over here.
Uh,
So depending on their membership plan, when they start a membership, oh shoot, when they start a membership, which is where is this defined at? Why does it keep navigating all the way to the top? If I just do this, start. Okay, start membership is a product. Yeah, I mean it's been like 5 years since I looked at this.
the syntax is not clear. What does it mean? Like email owner of plan.
It's okay. Which line you talking about? This right here.
Line 8. Email owner of plan. What does it mean?
It means that. All right. So just when you see like syntax like this that has like these pipes in them, they're similar to discriminated unions, except you're able to attach data to each member, to each enumeration member. So, for example, imagine if you looked at this plan of standard and platinum, imagine that you can actually attach, in addition to standard or platinum, details about that customer, like their first name and last name. So the way that that would look, and I'll just do it in Notepad real fast, or I'll do it in the editor over here, is you would have something like this where you could have like type plan, then you could say of customer, and then we'll just say customer right here too, right? In which a customer can be a structure where you have the first name and last name. Oh shoot, hold up. First name. What's happening? What, are the keys different in IntelliJ? It looks like they are. I keep doing Control Y and it's not doing what I thought. Okay. Let's start over. So you can say type customer equals, and then if this were F sharp, you could say first name of string, and then you would, when I hit the semicolon, it completely changes everything.
It's because semicolon is a common string and
Okay, let's do it in Notepad.
yes.
Type customer equals, you have first name, which is of type string, and you have last name, which is of type string, right? And so you can have, and maybe it's easier for me to read, for you to read if I do it like this. So you can define the structure, like in this case, customer. And then the whole enum thing that you were talking about is in F sharp is called a discriminated union. And the way that it can look is you could say type plan equals, and then you can have like standard um, premium. But then, like this alone would look like just an enum, right? Or an enumeration. But within F sharp, you can also attach data to it. So you could say of customer, right? Like that. And so then within pattern matching, you may have something like match uh, some plan with, and then you could do something like standard, and then you could say customer, or standard, and you could say C, as in C is for customer. I'll type it out, customer. Then from there, you can actually say customer dot first name. Then you could pipe that into some function. So it's, make long story short, when you see like this in F sharp, it's called a discriminated union, where it's kind of like an enum, except you're able to attach additional values to that enum. And when you pattern match on that enum, you can actually take those values that are attached to it and run them through functions or do whatever you want to do computing wise with it. I know that kind of sounds complicated, but premium. Say customer dot last name. And then you could pipe that into some other function, something like that. So that's kind of what that means when we're looking at this right here. Of course, this doesn't include customer. So it's kind of treated, like you said, as an enumeration.
Okay, so what is the type of email owner field? Is it a customer or what?
It's so the email owner is also kind of like a enum, just like so. These are, when you look at this command, this is this is similar to what you were suggesting as an enumeration, and then each of these are kind of like members of that enumeration, right? Issue slip, email owner, pay commission, attach video. But then we also have the ability to attach data or values to that. So for email owner, we are saying that we can attach whether the owner is on a standard plan or a platinum plan. You're just able to attach additional details to your enum member. I know it sounds really confusing, but that's what it means. But you were saying in Clojure, we don't really use like discriminated unions or enums. We use maps, right?
Well, in Clojure, we don't have those
O-
types declarations and so on.
Okay.
Maybe protocols, but mostly not. So
Okay. So like for example,
uh,
if
I just
the
wanted to understand the implementation of this kata to, but looks like I'm not
it's very funky
ready.
syntax.
So
Uh, so what happens is this is probably a really bad example of trying to translate into like Clojure. It's essentially depending on the type of plan that a customer has, whether they're on the standard membership plan or a platinum membership plan, the business rules can change depending on what they purchase. And so there's business rules for how you ship. There's business rules for how you handle a royalty. There's business rules for how commission is paid. Like all these have different behaviors depending on if that customer is on a standard plan or a platinum plan. So that's kind of the basis of this code kata is depending on the
so,
type
so,
of plan that they're on. Okay, I'm listening.
so for me, it sounds like some kind of polymorphism for
Yeah.
operations for the user. And best fit is using multi-method. This is dynamic functions which implementation depends on some rule. So
Yep. Exactly. I feel like I spelled
do,
platinum wrong. I don't know how to spell
do you know
platinum.
about multi-methods and documentation? Did you read about them?
You showed me our last session that doc is the actual function. So you say doc, and then you could provide the namespace or the function within the namespace, and it gives you details on that.
I can write some code, but how to provide it to you? Maybe you want
You want me
to,
to share this thing again?
yes, try to share. Edit files. I think edit files is enough.
Okay. Does that mean that it's on my link copy sent to people you want to join? Oh, send to people you want to join. So are you? Does it remember you? Hold up.
Just drop it to chat.
Okay.
So I can open it because I don't have this link yet.
Okay. So is it already on my clipboard? Yeah, it looks like it. Here you
Yes.
go.
Something is downloading again. Okay.
Yeah, you joined. Okay. Are you able to type into the editor now?
So like functions. handle shipping. Let's do handle shipping. So def community handle ship. So here, where's membership? Here's is function, dispatch function, which describes which implementation to choose from. I took membership keyword. So if you have a map with customer data and there is a field inside with keyword membership, this double semicolon means that this is exactly keyword looks like what is namespace? Namespace hello world core, and with double semicolon, this is hello world core. So this is a unique name for membership keyword exactly for this namespace. Not
Okay.
like membership from anywhere, but this is namespace keyword membership. And shortly we can just use this notation, membership. So if there's input has a map with field membership, then value of this membership will define what implementation is used. So this is a declaration of the multi method, and then, for example, def method shipping. So like standard pattern. So like standard one, and now it's like a normal function. We can. This is
Okay, I'm getting it.
user record here, and we can choose names, so on, different fields.
Again.
So same for premium, premium. And next we can just use this function like handle shipping on some map like membership and that plan, and other fields like name and so on, everything else. So user inside every implementation is this exactly this record, and we can do different apply different implementation just by dispatch by specific field in your the data record.
All right, so
The record.
let me try to summarize what I'm looking at. The def multi construct is like when you're defining an interface for anybody to provide their own implementation of. That's the def multi construct within Clojure. And then,
It's a it's
okay,
not an interface. It's just a single function. Okay, like interface with a single function.
okay, in Clojure we
Because
call
you
it an
can define
example.
interfaces with multiple functions like protocols and Java interfaces. It's okay. But in this case, it's just a single function with multiple implementations, which you can add dynamically from any part of your application at any time. You can even add and remove implementation in right time by calling add method, remove method, and so on.
Okay. So after you have your def multi declaration, then you have your def method declaration that because it has the same signature as def multi, as long as you the second parameter matches the second parameter of def multi, then it's going to the runtime is going to, like, I don't know, refer to that implementation when a client specifies one of two plans. Or actually, it doesn't have to be one of two plans. Okay, I think I'm understanding it. But what's this right here? This is an argument, right? Or this is a parameter of when we define a method called handle shipping with a standard plan. We're passing in this method is expected to take a user as a parameter or argument. Am I reading this right?
Yes,
Okay.
this is argument, but it's not used
Okay.
when we print.
All right. I think I understand. Okay.
So here, our data record presenting user data is a hash map with fields, and now we define our domain model that users should have a field membership with values like standard plan and premium plan, which describe. So if you write specification like using spec or something else uh, to validate user data, this field is required that membership is defined. And
Okay.
in this 21 string, this hash map membership, okay, I can write like my user, so it's not clear.
You typing on a typewriter? Your key sounds are loud. That's cool.
So now you can try to execute those functions in REPL and see how it works.
Okay. Let me
So
just look
load
at it
file and
first.
execute. Ah, Okay, just load file and everything will be output because everything is open.
All right, so this right here, I assume that the double colons is a map. Is that what that means?
Double colons is just a namespace of current hello world core
Okay.
namespace. So it's not just a name, but hello world.core/name keyword.
Okay.
If you
And
open another file, put this code to another file, this name will differ from same double colon name defined in another file. And if you mix all data in single record, both fields will be presented. If you just keep name with single colon, this is keyword name without namespace, and this is same keyword name from some library somewhere else. And when you search for your usage of keyword name without namespace, there will be too many names around, and it's maybe confusing. Is it correct type? Not. So if you can use namespaced keywords, you should use namespaced keywords in
okay.
common key.
So we're defining we're defining my user Scott, and we're saying that this my user Scott is going to be a structure or a record. Can I say record?
Yes, this is a
Oh,
map, hash map,
okay. Hash map.
just map.
Okay. So maps are enclosed within braces like that. All right. So we're defining my user Scott as a hash map that's going to expose a membership property in which the value is standard plan and a name property in which the value is Scott. It looks like a record to me. I thought a hash map was like just a dictionary, like a key value pair. But this has like it has multiple properties in it.
Yes, it's a dictionary.
Okay. Or each property is a dictionary. I got to wrap my head around this. Okay. All right. So there's another hash map called my user Sergey, and so its membership is premium plan, and its name is Sergey. And so when we say handle shipping my user Scott, which is this right here, this handle shipping will take uh, this handle shipping will take the standard plan that Scott is mapped to, and as a result, it's going to execute this print standard user. Okay, this is the syntax is very different, so my brain is taking a while to understand it. All right, so if I do Shift Alt L, I load it, and then if I do Shift Alt P, it says, how do I move this thing out? It says standard, and then it says # hello world.core membership name Scott. Okay.
So in line 12, I
Yes.
rewrote def multi without any hidden parts to understand. So def multi requires a third parameter, a function which dispatches implementation. So in line 12, I wrote it fully that anonymous function like function with parameter user and field membership taken from user. This result is used as dispatch value. So we have two dispatch value like standard plan and premium plan,
Okay.
but nobody writes this too many words because line 11 is identical. Membership keyword is also a function. All keywords are functions over, so if argument is associative collection, then keyword take value from collection by this keyword by itself.
Okay.
So line 11 is identical to line 12 function.
All right. So I think I
And
understand this. This basically, like, this is similar to in C sharp where it's a method handler, right? And so you provide the name of the method handler, and then it's actually defined like here or here, where it has the parameters that just automatically get passed in. I think I understand that. Okay.
so I just put an example how to get values from hash map. Added code in 11 to 14. This example, do you see it?
Yeah, I see.
Let m. So if we have a map with keyword a value 1, and we can write a generic function like get from m key a. We can apply function m because hash map is also a function for getting values from this map. So we can write m keyword a, and also we can write a applied to m. All of this produce same result. Also, it's possible to provide a default value if it's not found. Like, not, okay, believe it.
All right. So M stands for map. So let map equals the key value pair of A1. When we call get on this map, I'm looking at line 12. We say get from map A, and then calling not deliver. What does number 12 mean? Are we overriding A with not delivered for number
No, if
12?
a not found, that not delivered returned. This is a default value.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
By default, nil will be returned. If you want to um,
All right. So the
Distinguish,
second.
but nil will be returned, okay, if there is some, for example, x nil. So x from m will return nil. The result will be nil. And you don't know why the result is nil, because if there is no key x inside, or it's presented by equal nil, the result is the same, nil, or null in Java and so on.
Okay.
If you want to distinguish when you get some value and expect that value can have can be null or nil, you can provide some unique. For example, you can create exactly unique object like not found, some some object, and use it for as not found. Then this object will be returned. And you know that this not found object cannot appear in this data from somewhere else. It's unique.
Okay.
So this is a guaranteed way to check for if something is presented or not. So for the result,
So I have a question about. I have a question about the difference in building large scale systems in Java versus building large scale systems in Clojure. Like in Clojure, do we still spend the same amount of time refactoring like we do in your typical object oriented languages? Or is the equation or the paradigm completely different?
mhm.
So like
Personally, I spent enough time refactoring, but just because I want when I want, I don't know. I don't know what do you mean as refactoring, which is required by external requirements.
does the REPL driven development kind of like reduce or remove like significant refactoring that we're used to in C sharp or Java? Like I'm trying to figure, like, all this is dynamic, and I come from like a statically type like programming background, and so I'm trying to understand. I know that Clojure scales. It's just I have a hard time understanding how Clojure scales into like large systems, because there's like no type checking at all, and unless people just do TDD, but they don't do TDD. They don't do test driven development in Clojure. They use REPL driven development in Clojure. And so, like, is that enough to like still maintain like a clean code base where you don't have to constantly like for example, when a structure changes like membership and we want to add not just standard and premium, but we want to add like, I don't know, diamond as a third one. Like, do we rely on tools within like IntelliJ? Like, I'm just trying to figure out how much effort goes into when like requirements changing and you have to update a map or a hash. Like, I'm trying to understand what that looks like at a high level, even though I still don't understand the language itself.
So I cannot tell about large projects because I didn't work with so huge code base and so on. I don't know if for example, my working project is large enough. So this is about, let's have a look, statistics. Come on. So my project is about 300 CLG files with 70,000 lines of code without spaces, just a code. I don't think it's large. Also, if a
Well, you don't
project
think it's
can be,
large, but like it's you don't think it's large, but it's significantly like how many lines of code would that be in Java, right? Instead of 70,000 lines, it would probably be
yes,
like a
in
couple
Java
hundred
it will
thousand.
be much bigger. Also, I refactor much, and my suggestions, for example, just use namespace keywords, for example. This is about more easy refactoring because in IntelliJ with cursive you can just rename, so you can put cursor to the standard plan, press Shift F6, so rename it and change this standard plan keyword, change the standard plan keyword to another keyword in all project. Uh,
Okay.
So renaming your keyword specifications become very easy. But if you use
Oh,
just a standard plan, not without namespace, and there is standard plan with different semantics and meaning in another part of project, you need to check carefully what should be renamed or what should not be, and so on. That's why I suggest to use namespace keywords from beginning.
all right, that makes sense. I didn't even know you could refactor in a dynamic language like that.
For me, refactoring in Clojure is much easier than it was in Scala, for example.
Really?
Mostly because in Scala, when you change something a little, many parts are broken. You cannot execute anything until you fix it. It's not compiling. You're struggling with compiler and satisfying types and so on. Also interesting navigation issue is with, for example, function. If you change functionality, like adding new parameter, then Scala plugin stops seeing calls to this function. So, for example, handle shipping to function calling with single parameter user. In Scala, when I add a second parameter, all code base has calling invocation with single parameter, and now I cannot navigate. I cannot search for usage of this my new function with two parameters because it's not used anywhere yet, and it's hard to update, for example, or
Mm.
find and update all places where it's called to a single parameter and I need to add second parameter and so on. Also, Scala codes has many, you create many classes, complex interaction between them, and small changes became too hard. In Clojure, I can create second function with new behavior, search usage of old function, change gradually. Also same with namespaces. If I want to change, replace namespace implementation from one to another. I create new namespace, create new implementation gradually. When I'm ready, I remove old namespace or rename new namespace with the same name, like the old one, and so on. The most beautiful part that you can work with broken program. So during refactoring, you can have everything broken, but you can still execute some parts in the REPL, test implementation, so on.
Okay, I never considered that. All right, that makes sense. I never considered that. I always thought that if you have a typo, you can't execute the program at all. You can't execute anything, right? Um, at least at runtime. I mean,
So,
like you still have unit
so,
tests.
so, so refactoring requires some discipline. So it's not like in static types languages that refactoring is just task to satisfy, to change something and make it compiling again. So it's compiled that it's working like this. Uh, in Clojure, you need to ensure that it's still working, because you can surely break something. So you still need tests, but you need tests anyway in static types as well.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing that with me. Like, I didn't consider that. I think I don't. Not next weekend, but maybe like in 2 weeks. I would like to have attempted this code kata in Clojure. I think I'm probably going to have to practice understanding hash maps and some other data structures in Clojure before I could like start implementing this business rules kata. But in 2 weeks, I would like to at least have my first attempt at doing it. So we'll see.
So surely you don't have a like typed records. This help from IDE that control click and see which fields navigate to the source and which fields can be used, auto completion, so on. But as I saw, Cursive knows use keywords and can auto complete them as well. It's make easy. Uh, in Clojure, what I like in Clojure, you can invent your own approaches how to write code to keep it clear to you, understandable, to see which things works exactly for you, for your team, to analyze what doesn't work and create some rules,
Okay.
guides, and so on. You are not limited to anything. You can start just write code without anything else, and then you can think about how to organize code, structure, so on. And if you see that code become unreadable, unclear, you understand that it's time to refactor, to change something,
Okay.
or use some guides to help you to understand. But there
Okay.
is no automatic solutions like you don't need to understand anything. Everything is decided for you by someone else. Just write the code and you will be happy. No, some discipline is required. And the first, you should understand your algorithms, your goal, what you want to achieve with this code, your task, and because sometimes it's possible just open Stack Overflow, take some code without understanding what does it do, put it in your program, okay, it works, okay, let's keep it, without understanding how it works and why it works and so on.
Yeah, so like I'm looking at these, what I assume are function signatures, and like I guess because Clojure is a dynamic language, I'm used to like relying on the actual function signatures that include the type of output to understand like the code without actually looking at the implementation details. But I feel like in Clojure, I could see the function signature, but I don't see the output, right? So I guess that yeah, I would just have to rely on the name of the function to try to figure out what that type return would be.
Can you restart your invitation? I disconnected and
No,
wanted to add something.
it had timed out because it said the evaluation period was over. I could try to. Guest can access and enable access. Let me go back in here. Do this right here. Is it the same? It looks like the same one. I'm not sure if it's gonna. Oh, okay, it did. All right, cool.
So instead just of signature, you can provide a normal documentation, doc string. You can also, if you really need types, there is a core type library to put type definitions everywhere in your code
Yeah,
and use it on
Clojure
compile
spec.
time.
Clojure spec, right?
No, it is a separate project like core type,
Okay.
but it's too much trade-off.
It defeats the whole purpose of
I
doing
don't know.
Clojure.
Nobody use it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I feel like
yes, you can use spec as well. Use instrument, declare your function input, output parameters, and also instrument and apply this type checks during your execution in development. But for me personally, I didn't ever use it.
yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of using Clojure because now I feel like it's trying to force Clojure to be like a completely different language than what it was designed for, right?
No, maybe it's interesting. Maybe like a discipline and big project
Okay.
to use specification like for documentation purpose. But I work mostly alone myself. The second person in my team, but it he codes rarely last time, and I don't need this is additional work.
Mm-hmm.
If you have time, to make this efforts, specific efforts to describe input, output parameters, to make generative tests, which generates various input variations of input parameters, test for output, and so on.
You're talking about like similar to quick check.
Yes, it's okay, but I
Uh,
didn't use it. Also, I wait for non-alpha spec and spec 2, but they're still not here.
yeah.
So
So this is interesting because like I'm looking at the editor, I'm looking at the code, and I feel like I felt 6 years ago when I was trying to learn F sharp. It looks so alien to me. And like, yeah, like right now I think I'm pretty good with F sharp, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel intimidated. Like I know that I need to just keep putting one step forward. I'm just so used to like understanding most things that I just I feel very insecure right now because I'm looking at this and I can make sense of like maybe 30 to 50% of it, but I just feel like it's going to be a long journey. Like how long did it take you to learn to get comfortable with Clojure?
as I said previous time, I was preparing to start working with Clojure about 1 year, reading books,
Okay.
looking around. Then I took my microservice in Scala and wrote it in Clojure version of this microservice or libraries and microservices, and so on.
Okay.
So you just need to start writing.
Yeah, I guess I need to
I
develop.
did some exercises on for Clojure, but it's shut down now.
Mm,
So I think there are katas as well. There are exercises on services like lead code and another one. Okay, there are websites with exercises.
yeah. I mean, I got that book. That book has exercises. I just have to make time to actually do it instead of just reading it. It's easy to find time to read. It's for me, it's challenging to stop everything that I'm doing, sit down, and start typing out the exercises. But I have to do it. Like else, I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting your time, and I'm not reaching my potential. Right, the next level. So I'm on
Same
it.
was with Scala as well. I read a book. It was everything clear in the book, how to do functional programming. It was clear when you read. When I started to write code, it required to read
Yeah.
this book several times to understand. When you start using it, you get new questions, need to re-evaluate information and so on.
All
So
right.
everything when it's new requires effort to understand. Surely, just
All right.
practice and that's all.
Yeah. I guess I got to man up. Let me stop sharing. So, Sergey, I really appreciate it. My brain hurts even though you did all the typing. But hey, thank you again for taking out time on your weekend to help me get a better understanding of this whole Clojure thing. And I mean, I would like to meet with you like maybe next weekend or something, but definitely in 2 weeks. I hope to have my first attempt at the at coding up that code kata that you saw. That's my goal in like 14 days is submit my attempt. And I know it's going to look horrible, but that's a goal I'm going to try to hold myself to. So
Do you want to work with exactly this Kata 16?
I would like to.
because I can try to solve it myself
Okay.
to be more familiar and to be prepared when you want
Yeah.
to.
So the first time I did it in F sharp, it was nasty. I just had all these if conditions all over the place. It was really long. I had a whole bunch of files, and I asked for a code review on Stack Overflow, and Mark Seaman, he responded, and his code looked so elegant. I mean, he took a like basically the source code that you saw from the blog that I had was pretty much me rewriting my code to look like what he provided, what Mark Seaman provided. Um, and so like, and that's where I learned because originally I used test driven development, and that's where I learned that test driven development doesn't guarantee maintainable code. It's just a tool like anything else. And so like that was one of the first like awe moments that I had about functional programming, that you don't even use the same approach that you may use to in object oriented programming. Like it's a completely different way of perceiving the problem, and really relying on functions for almost everything except for output or side effects. So anyways, I'll try to use a similar approach for Clojure, and maybe Clojure won't have a similar approach. Maybe Clojure is completely different from F sharp when it comes to like how you use functions in that language. Like for example, using maps as a preferred data structure for most things. So we'll see.
There is interesting article.
Uh,
Mm, moment.
I'm looking at the core.typed that you sent me.
There is very interesting reading for people who familiar with different design patterns like common strategy state visitor. I don't know if you
I definitely want to do
get
things to
it.
close. I'm sorry. I was saying I definitely want to do things the Clojure way. I don't want to try to brute force my C sharp or my F sharp way of doing things. I don't want to try to brute force that into how I write Clojure. So what are they doing? Construction? I would like to be as
Yes,
idiomatic as
neighbors.
possible. Yeah, I would like to be as idiomatic as possible in Clojure.
So there's a link about traditional design patterns used in programming with OOP way, object
Ooh, this is
oriented.
nice. Okay.
And the answer is just everything is just use functions. So there are two slogans in Clojure. It's just data and just use functions.
Yeah,
That's all.
Scott Vlashin said the same thing. Yeah. Thanks for sharing this one. I got to bookmark this one. Hold up.
So this is very easy reading and like with some humor, very fun.
Okay.
I think it will be useful for you to get the difference. So the most hard part in learning Clojure is to unlearn things which you used to use, because those complex solutions from object-oriented programming, from type hierarchy, and so on. You should just forget it, throw it away, and
Yeah, that sounds
just
very
think
familiar.
about. You have a simple data structure. You have a set of functions to operate over the data structure, filtering, mapping, and so on.
It's going to be a process.
Change.
They told me the same thing for F sharp. They said, unlearn everything you learned about programming. And it took me about 8 months for it to finally click. I hope that Clojure takes me maybe 3 months and hopefully it clicks. I mean, so all right. Well, I'm exhausted. Thank you so much for helping me. Send me the invoice or your consulting fees, and yeah, like hopefully we can catch up sometime next week if you're available, but definitely in a couple weeks when I attempt to submit my my proposal for that kata. So thanks.
But do you plan to make a session next weekend? Or what?
I would like to. Yeah,
Okay.
this the last 2 weeks have been very busy with me. Like I started a new job. I'm in the process of moving to another location, so it's been really hard for me to like make time to work on my passion project and to learn Clojure. So I know there are excuses, but I'm trying really hard to integrate this stuff into my life. I'm struggling, but this is my attempt of still trying to do it. So I don't want to waste your time either. Like I really want to like follow through, and I want to demonstrate that I deserve to be helped and I deserve your time. So I'm trying really hard to like just demonstrate why I deserve mentoring. So that's it.
So to make it more productive, you can think about mm, write, explain some task mm, to implement when you understand the algorithm or what do you want to achieve, and we try to implement an enclosure and so on. So something which you understand generally, what do you want to do, but you don't know how to do it in Clojure.
Yeah,
And
I think I'm going to start blogging what I've learned or my technical journey on my blog posts. And so probably for the next 3 or 4 months, I'll probably just start writing a lot of Clojure stuff. And I'll probably also, now that I think about it, if I go to Stack Overflow, um, the I used to subscribe to F sharp topics and I would just read it every morning, right? I didn't really care about how to answer it. I just wanted to know the questions that people were asking about F sharp. And so I think I'm going to do the same thing with Clojure. I think I'm going to just subscribe to get emailed Clojure questions and answers, and hopefully that'll help me out as well. I just got to figure out how to do this. Hold up. Where's how do I do this? Do I go to
I
tags?
like to. Uh,
How do I search for Clojure? I don't know
so
how to.
I have a search in Twitter, so my saved search. So I read in Twitter saved search by keywords. So like this,
It's done. I
and
subscribed. You said you have a search on Twitter? Let me see
so I
this.
dropped a link by keywords and get about 100 tweets in a day with links or discussions about Clojure. For me, this is the most valuable channel for quick news, daily news about Clojure or something.
How do I
Someone asking.
how do I do that? Do I
You can
like
put okay.
I
You can put this expression in the search line. Moment, and this one. Put this search string in Twitter, and you can save the search, for example.
include the parentheses?
Yes,
Okay.
this is a syntax for it. It was not easy to find out how to make an advanced search for several words.
All right. So in Twitter, put it in here.
Yes.
And is there a way that
This
so
is
what it just
also
shows up? It shows up for now on, or I have to do it every single time?
so it just shows tweets with keywords like Clojure script, or
Oh, okay, okay.
CLCS. You can
Uh,
save this search. I think it's in multiple dots, right?
yeah, I guess I could just bookmark it, right, and it should just show up.
Uh,
So like if I add bookmark, and then I just do this
I
for.
don't use Twitter application, standard Twitter application. I use another one where this search results shown like a specific wall of tweets when I remember what is read or not, and just receive new tweets every day and read them.
Okay. Why are almost all the functional programmers in Europe? All right, my brain is exhausted. Thank you so much for everything. I really do appreciate it, and
Brains.
yeah, hopefully, maybe
Exactly.
next weekend or something we could set something up, and hopefully I could demonstrate my understanding. I would like to have a blog post completed before our next session. In fact, I'm not going to solicit your time until I publish a blog post that demonstrates what I've learned about some area of Clojure. So I'll make that my goal before I solicit your time again. So sounds good, right? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Sergey. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything. All right. See ya.
See you.
Bye. I am ending the
Goodbye.
broadcast. Yeah.